You're safe among. Never forget it.
Latest news! Latest news! Fresh from the War Owl! Hear all about it! Many a latest, my friend. The war, the bishop, the queen. What tickles your fancy? Ain't looking too good for them lizards. Word is, the Divine Order's gonna hit the ancient empire and hit it hard. You remember what happened to the elves, don't ya? Ain't no one left standing when you treat them to death, Frog. 7 sailors. Stabbed in the back he was, by them vile, low-born, treacherous seekers. Kill them all, I say. Do them like Magister Raymond did old Lady Seaver. That'll teach them traitors. I mean, they doomed us all, didn't they? The son of the Divine is dead. Gone. Who'll save us now? Jolly Justinia, Queen of the Dwarves. Ah, Scourge, more like. Here's 20 or so noble gentlemen. No one knows what they did wrong, if anything, and she has them stripped and whipped all the way to the execution grounds. Didn't even give them the dignity of a sword. No, ma'am. Had them all on. Real slow-like. You ask me, and I say she's mad as a mink with its tail on fire. Queen or no queen.
You're safe, friends. Never forget it.
Hello, missus.
The little boy looks at you. He picks his nose.
You be careful. My daddy's a Magister.
No, he's not. His daddy's a fisherman like most daddies round here. We're waiting for our friend. He went for a swim. He'll be back soon.
He went swimming all the way to Fort Happy.
Fort Joy?
That's what I said. Fort Joy. He's going to find his mum and bring her back. Cool. How did you know that?
Missus, have you seen our friend Joe?
Tell them the truth about Joe. They have to grow up sometime.
What they don't know can't hurt them. Don't tell them.
Kids are resilient. Tell them the truth.
The horror grows on their little faces.
No, that's a horrible thing to say. I bet it wasn't Joe. I bet it was someone else's leg in that icky shark.
She bursts into tears. Ben looks from you to her and back again, then starts crying too. After a moment, the crying subsides. Ben and Harriet snuggle into you.
So where's Joe? Okay then.
That's horrible. You're mean.
Bye-bye, Mr. Lady Missus.
Hope you ain't looking for work in this dying town. Besides, you ain't got the look of a fisher about you, I'll tell you that much.
That's it. On the Go on, you mute sacks of flesh. Put your backs into it. I'll not lose another day to the tide. The Lord Dredd awaits. Its sails billow with Dallas's breath.
The Magister stops, barking orders. He sniffs the air like a predator, turns to face you, the wolf eyeing the deer.
Oh, but yours is not a stink like the one that surrounds us, spat from a dying sea. Yours is a scent that invites a question. Tell me, have you ever been strung up by the hands? Your body swinging like a bell's clapper as your bones are being broken with cast iron rods? We do cruel things unto others and unto ourselves because we must.
He licks his lips. Dry flesh turns wet.
See, I'd like to string you up too. Rack you with rods and leave you dangling over a puddle of your own blood and piss. My favourite one. I'm very good at what I do, see? I don't even need a sauce hound yapping at my side. There was a whiff of something in the air when you approached. A current of filth. That is to say, sauce. Best convince me I was mistaken.
He leans in closer and sniffs the air once more.
Interesting. So I was mistaken. Must have been ambition I smelt on you, not the magic that dare not speak its name. Very well. In that case, we'll forego the gallows and turn straight to the hunt. No doubt a trustee of Dallas is champing at the bit to see some action. Seems peaceful here, doesn't it? A quiet day in a quiet town. One wouldn't think these drifting woods toss on dwarf-troubled waters, but they do. Consider for a moment the dwarf. What is he? A mule? A beast of burden? But some defy that role. There are rats among them, dancing to their rat queen's tune. I've need of a rat catcher. Of course, I must depart post-haste, but Julian here will stay behind and be a good little parrot. Ask and he will answer.
Stay behind? But I've my orders. Same as you. Dallas.
Like I said, Julian is staying. And with that, I must be off. No hard feelings about the death threats, of course. How about we part shaking hands instead of stringing them up? How very heartwarming. One last thing. The Magisters here are diligent men and women. A stranger like you may run into troubles with them. Should this happen, just wave this piece of parchment in their eager little faces. My signature will placate them without fail, I assure you. Adieu and good luck. The Lord Dredd awaits. The use of the gallows I pass on to you. The time has come, my stitched-lip lovelies. We set sail. Get on board and man your stations.
Left behind like a dog. Bah! 7 curses upon that ship.
The Magister is rubbing the dirt off his robes, none the worse for wear, apparently, from the blast of magic that knocked him off his feet.
You, the so-called friend of Dallas. I'd be whining and dining aboard the Lord Dredd if it weren't for you. Your meddling in Magister affairs had better be worth it.
Yes, I am very much aware. Wasn't my damn head that hit the floor back there. Now answer me. Did you meet with a Magister caravan on your way into town? The hour's growing late and I'm beginning to worry something might have gone wrong. By the bishop's bones, you saw it! Out with it, woman! What happened? That means source was used, which means some third party must have attacked first. And I've a fair idea who that might have been. Raymond, that old goat, always suspected there's more to the Driftwood dwarves than meets the eye. Hate to admit it, but I think he may be right. Too many things have gone wrong along Reaper's Coast to attribute to bad luck. Magister ships sinking, weapons disappearing, and as you've seen, a caravan attacked and destroyed. Rumour has it the Dwarvian Queen herself is behind these acts of sabotage. That is what I want you to prove. There's a local thug, Lohar. He runs an operation out of his hideout beneath the Black Bull Tavern. I suspect this man of being a spy for his queen.
It may be interesting to have a word with him. Find out what he's up to. Where I really want you to ferret around is Reaper's Bluffs, to the west of Driftwood.
It's wild territory, remote and hostile, where I believe the dwarves may have set up a base of operations away from prying eyes. Should you find any such place, and better yet, proof that Lohar is working on behalf of Queen Justinia, you will be handsomely rewarded, I assure you. They've always been snakes in the grass. Cheap labour, sure, and hard workers too. Half of them are their queen's spies. Her eyes, her ears, her poison-pouring hands. You know what Queen Justinia is like, surely? A tyrant and a master strategist to boot. In that case, go forth and let the hunt commence!
You're safe among friends. Never forget it.
Hackles raised, the dog barks at the sand built up beneath the building.
There's something not right, and that's wrong. It's under the house thing there, and it's bad. I can smell it. You be careful now. What's under there smells real bad. It smells evil.
I don't care if you tear this place apart plank by plank. We will find him.
You can't just charge in here and ransack my business.
There's a murder on the loose.
You, stranger, what are you doing here?
I have rights. You've no authority to storm in here like this.
We have the authority of 4 missing Magisters.
Good. This town has enough problems. Tell me, have you seen a man around here? Grey beard, grey cloak, a look of madness in his eyes.
You tell the Magisters. Then we can get them out and you
The Magister's eyes narrow and her lip curls as she assesses you.
It's vital that you report anything unusual. We must know. Is that clear? He arrived in Driftwood some days ago, dressed as a tinkerer. He bought and sold a few knickknacks. But we thought nothing of it until our brothers started vanishing. As soon as he knew we were onto him, he ran. We think he's hiding in here, but he's a canny one. Now, be on your way. Who knows where he could strike next?
Yes.
If any of you see so much as a rat's hair out of place, you tell the Magisters. Then we can get them out, and you can get back to work.
Bugger off, I'm busy. Grisha's still the favourite. If I bet against him, I could win big.
The dwarf peers at an expertly dissected fish, gently poking its innards with his knife.
Fascinating. Most fascinating. Oh, my... I mean, no, what do you want?
The dwarf shakes his head with irritation before turning back to the fish.
You're blocking my light. Go away. Nothing wrong with taking pride in your work.
The dwarf grimaces and points the tip of his knife at his handiwork.
Whatever's wrong with these fish is causing a lot of hardship for a lot of folk. I want to figure out what's happening to them. See if there's anything that can be done. Yes, as it happens. I need to see the effects of eating these fish firsthand, if you understand me. Do as I ask, and you'll be amply rewarded, I guarantee you. Wonderful. Now, there's 3 samples that I wish to learn more about. Care to choose?
The fish instantly churns your insides. You double over in pain. A sudden vivid sensation of floating in darkness assails you. There's something in there with you. Something. Hungry and corrupt. You can't breathe. You can't breathe. The dwarf suddenly drifts back into view, peering at you with fascination.
How do you feel?
A stream of black bile suddenly erupts from your mouth and across the dwarf's boots. He doesn't even look displeased.
I see. Well, I'm sure it was nothing but a side effect of the fish. Speaking of which, I've learned a great deal from observing you. I owe you a great debt.
The dwarf puffs up his chest and proudly gestures to the fish.
The fish is indeed malignant. Humans are affected by it in the same manner as other species. Ah, yes, of course, but this mightn't be quite what you were expecting, but, well, the fish you ate is known as yellow ridgeback. Quite a cunning breed, often used in concoctions to increase alertness. But this one, touched by the void itself. Who is to say how such a creature might alter an alertness mixture? Seek out somewhere that peddles alertness herb mixes. Adding these, unique ridgebacks might make quite the impact. So, now my work must continue, as soon as I've got in my quota of fish, of course. Farewell, stranger. My thanks once again, stranger. With your help, I might make a breakthrough yet. My findings are very promising, but speed isn't a virtue of my field, I'm afraid. Well, let me see. You tried the yellow ridgeback. Ah, yes, it's coming back to me now. A wily creature, not the easiest to catch. Find somewhere that peddles alertness herb mixes, then add the ridgeback that I gave you. The effects of the new mixture could be quite interesting.
The dwarf peers at an expertly dissected fish, gently...
Fascinating. Oh, my... no, I'm gutting fish. What else? Nothing wrong with taking pride in your work.
The dwarf
Whatever's wrong with these fish is causing a lot of hardship for... Yes, as it happens. I need to see the effect... Wonderful. Now, I have 2, samples that I wish to study. Care to choose which you'll try?
The fish instantly churns your insides. Everything turns black. A sudden vivid sensation of floating in darkness assails you. There's something in there with you. Something. Hungry and corrupt. You can't breathe. You can't breathe. The dwarf suddenly drifts back into view, peering at you with fascination.
How do you feel?
A stream of black bile suddenly erupts from your mouth and across the dwarf's boots. He doesn't even look displeased.
I see. Well, I'm sure it was nothing but a side effect of the fish. Speaking of which, I've learned a great deal from observing you. I owe you a great debt. Ah, yes, of course, but this mightn't be quite what you were expecting, but, well, the fish you ate is known as crimson bream. Quite a fast, vicious breed. It's often used in the creation of ferocity mixtures. But those use regular specimens, not this kind. Who is to say what might happen if you brewed a ferocity mixture with a crimson bream that's been touched by the void itself? The effects could be quite potent. Seek out somewhere that peddles ferocity herb mixes, but make an addition. One of these, unique breams. So, now my work must continue, as soon as I've got in my quota of fish, of course. Farewell, stranger.
The dwarf peers at an...
Fascinating. Oh, my. I'm gutting fish. Nothing wrong with taking pride...
The dwarf grimaces.
Whatever's wrong with these fish is causing a lot of... Yes, as it happens. I need to see the effects of eating these fish. This brown...
The fish instantly churns your insides, blinds you to your surroundings, but then a vision, towering horrors, the void woken, gathered before a silhouetted figure. You strain to see who it is. Your perspective abruptly changes. Cold, dark water. You glide through it. Black tendrils suddenly creep across your vision. You slow. The darkness consumes you. The dwarf suddenly drifts back into view, peering at you with fascination.
How do you feel?
A stream of black bile suddenly erupts from your mouth and across the dwarf's boots. He doesn't even look displeased. The dwarf leans in and peers intently at your eyes.
Spontaneous delusions. Very interesting. But nothing more than a side effect from eating the fish, I'm sure. Speaking of which, I've learned a great deal from observing you. I owe you a great debt. Ah, yes, of course, but this mightn't be quite what you were expecting, but the fish you ate is known as the umber monkfish, a remarkably intelligent breed. In fact, its flesh is often used to create intelligence mixtures. Now this monkfish, one that's been touched by the void itself, who's to say how its flesh could augment an intelligence brew? It could prove to be most valuable. Find somewhere that offers intelligence brews, then add this monkfish sample. The effects could be most interesting. So, now my work must continue, as soon as I've got in my quota of fish, of course. Farewell, stranger.
Then we can get them out, and you can get back to work.